should bring back Spooky Christmas.
Spooky Christmas? Like, if the children are bad things happen?
Yeah, that and the ghost story part.
Yeah.
Like Christmas used to be a lot scarier.
Yeah, true.
Even in the songs, they talk about like ghost stories at Christmas. 'Cause that's when you tell them.
Yeah, we should bring that back.
Let's put the spook back in Spooksmas.
Spooksmas.
And I know there's like Christmas horror movies, but they're usually like, oh, this is the most joyful time. What if Santa was bad? And I don't know. Some of them are good.
Yeah.
A lot of them not so much.
Yeah. But I like the idea of being afraid of being bad.
Oh, you like the Krampus end of things.
Yeah. And the like, not like, I feel like it got really softened with the, oh, you'll get a lump of coal.
Yeah.
No, like,
you want them to be whipped or eaten by the Yule Catherine.
I don't know if whipped is the right word.
Yeah, just Krampus puts them in a bag and whips them.
Oh.
That'd be good.
That sure.
We'll keep them in line.
We'll go with that.
Even outside of that, though, I want just like, this is when ghosts come out. Mm-hmm. Because you used to put up Christmas trees and stuff because it would ward off the evil spirits.
Yeah, Christmas lights were supposed to like confuse them and make them scared.
Ah.
Yeah.
So watch out.
Watch out.
Ghosts are out. This is ghost time.
Get your Christmas lights out.
Don't forget that Christmas was originally about ghosts. Well, welcome to a very spooky but jolly episode of I Love This, You Should Too. My name is Indy Krampus Randhawa, and with me is Samantha Whip the Kids Randhawa.
Oh, okay.
Put them in a sack.
Kids in a sack.
Kids in a sack Randhawa, that's what they call you.
Yeah, exactly. All the time.
So what are we going to do today, Sam, for our spooky but festive? It's probably not going to be spooky at all, is it?
I think this is the end of the spook time.
Yeah.
And now we're just festive.
Maybe I'm going to have a ghost movie.
Maybe.
No, I'm not.
So we are going to each talk about our spoiler-free things of the fortnight that are Christmas themed. And then Indy will tell us what we are watching for our final Christmas movie of the year. Indy, do you want to start us off?
Sure. So my Christmas thing of the fortnight is the 2005 comedy mystery, something like that. Kiss, Kiss, Bang, Bang. Are you familiar with this movie at all?
I feel like I've heard the name. I don't think I've ever seen it.
So it is a kind of a detective movie. It stars Robert Downey Jr. and Val Kilmer mostly. Also Michelle Monaghan. Mm-hmm. And some other people are in there too, like Corbin Bernsen's in there, Larry Miller a little bit, but those are the three leads. And it was written and directed by Shane Black, who you might know from the Lethal Weapon movies. The first one, that's probably his most famous, but he also wrote Monster Squad. And I forget that. And every time I remember, it makes me happy.
Monsters make you happy?
Well, Monster Squad especially.
Yeah.
Do you know that Wolfman's got nards?
No.
Well, that's because you haven't seen Monster Squad.
True. Is that your movie?
It should be. I don't think it's Christmassy, though. It's much more Halloween.
Oh, okay.
I really should have done Monster Squad for Halloween.
Next year.
There's always next year. But Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is kind of a movie that is a throwback to 1940s and 50s hard-boiled detective film noir. And I've been reading a lot of Raymond Chandler novels in the last little while, so it was fun to see all the inspiration that comes from that. So it has that kind of signature narrator, and in this case, it's Robert Downey Jr., but it's all like real tongue-in-cheek. And sometimes you might think, well, at least I did, that it can be a little too chatty and too quippy. But if you love Robert Downey Jr., you probably love that because that's, that's kind of his bit.
That's his thing.
And that's how he took over the Marvel movies, and now they're all that. But it makes a lot more sense in this one than I think it does in a lot of Marvel movies. I like it a lot because it pays homage to those detective movies, but also kind of pokes fun at them, but in a very loving way. Because the narrator is kind of going back and forth and pointing out things like, hey, remember that from earlier in the movie? And there's a lot of breaking the fourth wall in that respect, but it's not so far that it's distracting like a lot of movies can be when it's kind of gimmicky that way. Mm-hmm. It's satirical, but not too much. I find it kind of halfway between those straight up satires like The Man Who Knew Too Little and a real film noir like The Big Sleep. It's right in the middle there that is very serious. It has a lot of pretty dark stuff in it, but still kind of genuinely funny in a lot of moments. Robert Downey Jr., I think, is pretty good in this, but he's playing the character he plays a lot.
Yeah.
He's kind of a dick, but at least it's called out because he's, I don't know, sometimes sexist or homophobic, but the movie isn't because he pays for his...
Oh.
Like when he says something like that, he's quickly corrected or like punched in the face or something. Huh. So you're like, oh, the movie's not on his side. Yeah. He's just that way. Val Kilmer, I think, is really funny. I think Val Kilmer's a really talented guy. I know he has some real ups and downs in his career and maybe a bit of an egomaniac sometimes, but I like a lot of his stuff and he's really good in this. And if you like Shane Black movies, you kind of love that dialogue, the back and forth of some of his buddy cop things, and that is really present in this one too. And when you get past all this, like, well, it's a homage to this, but satirical, and what it comes down to is it's a pretty good whodunit murder mystery in the style of those Chandler novels. And in this movie, they actually are fans of a different fictional type of Raymond Chandler author. And they're always saying like, oh, usually you have these two cases and one seems normal, one seems wild, but in the end they come together. And then that sort of stuff starts happening in this movie. But some things pay off, some things don't. And the things that don't, it's not like the writer didn't tie up the loose ends. It's like, yeah, this is the real world. It's not a novel, so it's not going to work out that way. But it is a fun mystery ride of trying to find all of these different elements that work together. It's in that kind of style, but it is taking place in modern, or at least 20-year-old now, so I guess not modern, but in Los Angeles in 2005. And it feels like it's a part of that world, but that world seen through this hard-boiled detective novel lens. When this came out, it was not terribly successful. I think it might have lost money, but it did well critically. It was another one of those ones where critics like it, but nobody went to see it really. So it might be kind of forgotten, but it's one that you hear about when people talk about those underappreciated movies. It's like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang and In Bruges, and I think that's Christmassy too.
Is that?
Those are very similar movies.
Oh.
Were they made by the same people? I don't know. But either way, it's a good watch. Go check it out. And I didn't mention, it is Christmas.
Oh.
It is more of one of those that is set at Christmas than about Christmas.
Right.
But the first music you hear in the movie is Christmas music. People are wearing Santa hats throughout and Santa-style dresses. There's Christmas music throughout it. So it's a Christmas movie, but it isn't really about Christmas.
That was my question I was waiting to ask because it didn't sound like a Christmassy movie.
No, I guess it's not. And to me, when it's in Los Angeles, it's hard to make it Christmassy.
Oh, because they don't have weather.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
but I guess to people from other parts of the world, people who aren't currently watching a foot of snow fall outside of the window like we are.
Like we are literally doing right now.
So it might be more Christmassy to those people. To me and you, palm trees aren't Christmas.
No.
But to a lot of the world, they are.
It does seem like a nice place to go during the winter season, though.
Yeah, that's more of a late January for me. You have the fun Christmas here where it's nice and snowy.
The
and
snow
festive.
is still a novelty right now.
Yeah.
In like a month, we're going to be like, oh my God, it's snowing again.
Yeah. We're only a month into snow right now.
Yeah, exactly.
After 3 months of snow, people who don't have it, you get sick of it quick.
It's like harder to get around. It's slippery. It sucks.
Shoveling,
having to go outside when it's cold.
So I guess that's my other recommendation. Snow is pretty good. And also, so is Kiss Kiss Bang Bang from 2005. Go check it out. I don't think it's streaming anywhere, but I didn't really look into it.
Okay.
So go watch it if you like detective movies and Robert Downey Jr. So people love that guy.
Yeah.
They love him so much that when they killed him off in Marvel, they're like, you know what? Let's bring him back as someone else now.
Actually, back.
All right. Well, Samantha, how about you? What's your festive thing of the fortnight?
Well, I last year, I believe I did Falling for Christmas, or was it 2 years ago? I can't remember now.
I don't either. That might have been last year. Who knows? You can know if you just go back and listen to our Christmas episodes from last year.
I realized I meant to check that out, but I did not. So yeah, go scroll back and find the rest of our Christmas episodes. But I think we talked about then that Lindsay Lohan signed a multi-picture deal with Netflix. And so this is her second Christmas movie, her third movie overall of this deal. And it is called Our Little Secret. It just came out on Netflix in the last couple of weeks. And it was delightful, light, and fun. I put it on kind of while I was working yesterday because I think Christmas movies are kind of made to be on in the background. I don't think they're like a sit down and like think real hard about it kind of movie, or genre.
These ones, at least.
These ones, yeah.
I would say like a lot of Christmas movies you should sit down and watch.
I'm talking about like Hallmarky kind of romantic comedy kind of Christmas movies. So I put it on in the background and I actually found myself watching the movie like more than I thought I would. I thought I'd just, put it on the background and enjoy the kind of checking in every so often. But
wow, that's high praise. Samantha says this movie is so good, you will want to watch it.
Yep. So the movie follows Avery, played by Lindsay Lohan, who is spending her first Christmas with her boyfriend's family, but then discovers her ex is also part of the family. She decides to hide their romantic history and hijinks ensues. I feel like that's what I always say when I'm trying not to like give away plot points. You get to see a fun kind of wacky family dynamic. You get to see lots of Christmas traditions. There's a really cute dog in it. And the classic trope of my mother-in-law hates me. Which is like always in these kind of movies. I really enjoyed Kristen Chenoweth playing the mother-in-law. Tim Meadows was in it. There was quite a few names of people that I recognized, and there was quite a few moments where I was like, oh, I know that person. So I really enjoyed it. I thought it was kind of fun and fluffy, and you get some kind of wacky moments between the different people in the cast, and the end has like a fun twist at the end. So I recommend it. So you can see Our Little Secret on Netflix anytime you want, I guess, because it's Netflix.
Did you like this better than Falling for Christmas?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
That was a low bar.
It was a low bar.
Although you loved that movie.
I enjoyed it, yeah. I think Lindsay Lohan does a really good job of playing normal people, and it's like a little bit more believable. She seemed more like she was in like The Parent Trap. She was like believable and kind of fun and lovable. So I really enjoyed her in this. I look forward to what she does next.
Have you seen all of her Netflix movies now?
I got like 20 minutes into Irish Wish and then didn't see it. Or didn't like finish it because I think I forgot about it. But yeah, I at least attempted to watch all of them.
That's another, not a ringing endorsement that you attempted to watch it but couldn't get past the first 20 minutes.
I just forgot. I think I started it and didn't finish it just because I forgot about it. Yeah. I'm enjoying her resurgence in the world, and I think she did a good job in this movie. So Indy, can you tell us what your big watch for next week is?
So it recently came to my attention, like you said, to you, Christmas movies are not for watching, but rather having on elsewhere.
Yeah.
You've never actually watched Home Alone.
Correct.
So we have to do Home Alone.
Obviously.
I just assumed, I didn't even look at things like that. That's why I'm doing like Tokyo Godfathers last year.
A classic.
I assumed you'd seen all of these. And Home Alone is especially things that are in our lifetime. I assumed you would have seen. But you haven't seen Home Alone, so I think we should remedy that.
Oh, absolutely.
But you probably know, you've seen bits and you know what it's about.
Yes.
So what's Home Alone to you?
Macaulay Culkin,
yes.
I think his name's Kevin.
Yes.
Gets left behind by his mom and dad and his whole family when they go on vacation. And he's then home alone. And there's robbers, and I think he makes an elaborate party scene at one point using like toys and shadows and stuff. And that's all I remember.
This is pretty much identical to when you got me to watch Titanic. I was like, I haven't seen it, but I know it.
You're like, no, you get the gist. I feel like I understand what this movie's about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see it all together because I do feel like I've seen just clips, and there's things like when the mom yells Kevin. I feel like I've heard that.
The mom, one of your very
Yes.
favorites.
Absolutely. I'm excited to see her in this as well. But I feel like just being in the world, you get so much of this movie just already. I feel like I'm excited to watch it from like start to finish.
So in case you haven't seen Home Alone, it is a 1990, I'd say, Christmas comedy about exactly what Samantha said, starring a young and charming Macaulay Culkin as Kevin McAllister, Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern as the Wet Bandits. Mm-hmm. They are the robbers. John Hurd and the lovely Catherine O'Hara as his parents. And then you get John Candy it's more than a cameo, but he has a small part in there as well. And then there's all of his family, most of whom the names I don't know of those actors. But Macaulay Culkin's brother, I think that's Kieran, is in this, and he's really good in this too.
Nice. Well, I'm excited to see it because I do feel like it's one of those ones where I feel like there's like a big hole in my knowledge of movies that I feel like needs to be remedied.
Well, let's do that. This is one of the, I think, 4 movies I'd ever seen in theaters with my mom.
Oh.
So we went and saw Home Alone when I was very, very young, and I loved it. I think she did not, because so the second half of the movie is robber hijinks of Macaulay Culkin injuring these robbers.
Right.
And of course, when you are I think I was like 6 when this came out, when you're a 6-year-old, you think that's hilarious.
Yeah, that's fun.
Now going back on it, the first half with his interactions with his family are so funny to me now. And my mom was real upset because in this movie he tells his mom to shut up. And she did not like that.
I can imagine, knowing your mom.
So I do remember that was a sticking point for her. The interactions with the family now are so funny to me. And there are so many lines in this that I want to use all the time. Like, look what you did, you little jerk. To say that to a child is very funny. And for that same child, just go, shut up to their parent. That's really funny.
Oh, that's funny.
It's a good movie. I think it is legitimately still funny, not just nostalgia funny. Maybe the slapsticky stuff in the second half doesn't play to you as well. Like, I don't like that as much as the family dynamic stuff early, but just this kid being left alone and what he gets up to outside of the robbery part, I think that's all really good too. I think what it's known for, the robbery and the like traps and such, I think that's one of the weaker parts. But of course, a lot of people love physical comedy. So if you love that, you're going to like Home Alone. It was actually written by John Hughes, who in the 80s was just crushing with all of the movies he did. He did Mr. Mom, National Lampoon, 16 Candles, Breakfast Club, Weird Science, Pretty in Pink, Ferris Bueller, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Uncle Buck, Great Outdoors, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. And then he does Home Alone in 1990. And then I feel like his career just like no good after that. I don't really like much after that. He did Home Alone 2, but then he's also doing like Beethoven, Dennis the Menace, several Beethoven movies, Flubber, Made in Manhattan, that Jennifer Lopez movie.
Oh, yeah.
He wrote that. Drillbit Taylor. So I think his post Home Alone career is not nearly as good as his pre-Home Alone career. And it's directed by the very capable Chris Columbus. He's one of those like no style directors.
Right.
And I don't mean that as an insult. I mean that you hire him and you know you're going to get a well-made film. It won't have a specific look or feel to it, I think. But he directed Adventures in Babysitting, Mrs. Doubtfire.
Didn't he do one of the Harry Potters?
I think he did 2.
Yeah.
The first one and the second one, I'm assuming.
Okay.
He also did Rent that we've done on this. And later in his career, some more. He doesn't work nearly as often. He just picks and chooses, I guess. So he's the director. I think it's cleverly written and capably directed. And Home Alone, you can find on Disney Plus if you're using that. I think there's... How many Home Alones are there? We were looking at that earlier.
6 or 7, I think.
So many. 2 good ones.
Yeah.
I think the second movie's actually good.
Do you? I was
Yeah.
going to say, is the second one worth watching?
It's good.
Okay.
I think it goes 1 and 2 definitely in that order, and then there's a big gap between anything else. So we are going to watch Home Alone from 1990. Watch it on Disney Plus or wherever. I'm sure your library has a DVD of this. It should be pretty easy to find, as big as it is. I do own it, so we can watch that. And we'll meet back here next week and chat all about it.
Perfect. Can't wait.
Any hopes or fears? your fears going into Home Alone.
I'm afraid. I'm so afraid. I don't know. I feel like I'm excited to finally understand all of the Home Alone references that are in the world. I am excited to see Catherine O'Hara. But yeah, I don't know. I'm cautiously optimistic as usual.
I think you'll like it, not love it. You'll be like, yeah, that was fun.
Oh, okay.
Moving on.
Sounds good. Okay.
And I think this is still one of the highest grossing comedies of all time.
Wow.
This was a very successful movie.
Huh.
So successful that my mother even saw it in the theaters.
Which is, that's huge.
And she goes to one movie every 10 years.
Decade, yeah.
All right, well, make sure you keep your shoes tied tight and join us next week when we talk all about Home Alone.
Perfect.
Because if they're not tied tight, they'll come off and then you'll step on a nail, and you don't want that.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure I'll understand what that means next week.
Maybe wear a helmet.
Oh, okay. To watch the movie?
Yeah, for you, maybe. You did hit your head on the wall the other day,
did,
sitting
you're
on a
right.
couch.
It's true.
Christmas is a dangerous time.
Yeah, it's just full of dangers.
Oh, you know what? There's a tiny little spooky there's a couple little spooky elements in this.
Okay.
Huh.
And
This
we
movie might
thought
be
the
better than
spook
I
was over.
remembered even. Let's go watch it.
Okay, you can watch Home Alone on Disney Plus along with all of its many sequels. Bye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Ho, ho, ho.